series of exercises that make up a giant movement. So as you'll see, each phase is in itself its own exercise. So the purpose of the Get Up is to demand the most amount of stability throughout the body. And it does a few things. It's the only movement that moves the body through all three planes of movement. So your frontal, your transverse, and your sagittal. It trains all four of the body postures. Real quick, which is prone, supine, quadruped, half kneeling or lunging, and standing. And it will train the shoulder in a full range of movement, as well as the hips. So again, much like the windmill for martial artists or anyone like that, anyone playing sports, it should be the foundation along with the kettlebell swing in my opinion. So I'll go ahead and I'll just demo real quick how I'm training the Get Up, and we'll break it down. So we'll start like this. Okay, so each movement is in itself, like I said, its own exercise, right? And it should be done with that much caution, and you want to be aware of everything that's going on. So how I like to explain it is, because it's a stability movement, if you think of the structure of a building, the strongest angles for building that building is going to be 90 degrees and 45-degree angles when they're doing the construction. So we want to actually set our body up using those two angles. So you'll understand what I mean here. So it starts out without the roll to press, just if we're doing body weight, what we call starfish. I'm going to lay down, and I want all of my limbs to be roughly 45-degree angle to my body. Okay, my back is in a neutral position, my shoulder blades are together, and it's always the same arm and the same leg. Okay. The initial first movement comes from the breath and from the diaphragm, and it's a breath in. I'm going to push my foot in the ground, and I'm going to roll up onto my forearm. So it's actually sort of two parts. You have the roll and then the sit-up. Where most people are going wrong with this is right from the beginning, they're not in a good position, and they're trying to do a sit-up. Okay? So, same arm, same leg. I've got my 45-degree angles to my body. The reason for the 45-degree angle, let's just take a look at, the first step. With the arm, let's say if I'm not aware of that 45-degree angle and I bring my arm out to here and I go to do the roll, right? This is a very bad position for my shoulder if I have a lot of weight, right? Body weight, you can probably fake it, but if we're looking at the purpose of this exercise to demand the most amount of stability, think of a building, right? We're going to stack each floor on top of the other, 90-degree angles, 45-degree angles, that sort of thing. So we want to line our joints up on top of each other, okay? So, and we'll go through this. You don't have to remember this right now. I'm just kind of breaking it down piece by piece. So again, I've got my 45-degree angles. I want maximum tension throughout my body. So this free leg, I'm going to actually lock the knee and kick it straight, and I'm flexing my foot towards me. I'm going to push in the ground. I don't want my knee to cave in. Shoulder blades are together. Deep breath in. And with good integrity, I roll up and come up onto my forearm. And notice the thoracic extension that I have in my back here. Right? We don't want to be caved and putting pressure into the shoulder. I want to roll that back, stack the joints on top of each other, and I'm looking up at the kettlebell the whole time. From here, I'm going to take a breath in, push my arm into the ground, and again, roll my shoulder back, stick my chest up, and get in a good upright position. Okay, so this would be the quadruped position, where I have all 4 points of contact. So this point here would be with the kettlebell. Alright, so let's work this stage first, because this is the half Get Up, okay? So from here, coming down is an art in itself as well, but I want to do the exact opposite that I just did. So again, where most people are going wrong is they're just kind of collapsing and not keeping that point of maximum stability. And again, I have, you know, shoulder in a bad position, I'm starting to collapse. So I want to get that 45-degree angle back by sliding my arm and stacking my joints right up underneath each other, keeping good T-spine extension, good packing with the shoulder. We'll talk about that in a sec. And then I'll do that opposite roll. Okay? So before we get into the half get up, let's talk about a couple of key points that are going to be consistent throughout. So, Mark, why don't I use you? If you can just come and lay on your back. The first thing is going to be the packing of the shoulder. All right? So what I mean by that is this. So if you get yourself into the position that I just explained, so he's got 45 degrees, maybe bring your hands a little bit closer. So same arm, same leg. Good. Okay. So what he should have, like I was explaining, is maximum tension throughout his whole body. So in the lats, right? Shoulder blades pulled together, leg is tight. The packed shoulder is simply this. If I go to pull his arm, I should be able to lift his whole body off the ground, right? So relax that. So don't pack your shoulder, right? This is what we want to try and avoid, okay? This is not a good position for the shoulder, and we're not getting all of the stabilizers in the shoulder, right? So when we get into it with a partner, you can try this drill, but if he pulls it down, shoulder blades together, deep breath in, I should be able to pick him up like this, okay? So the first position, and you can do a little cue, you don't want this caving in, so you've got to tighten this up. Exactly, you're going to push. He's flexed here all the way. Good position with his back. He's going to take a deep breath in and roll, and then come up. And he wants to be looking up here at his hand. And then let's get that shoulder in a better position. Right there, chest up. Good. So as you can see, he's pretty straight, right? Okay. And then you're going to push the forearm in the ground. Yep. Lock the joints. When we lock the joints, we train the tendon and the ligament. Good. He could bring his hand a little closer to his body. Yeah, and then kind of get a little straighter. There, and that's a pretty good position. And you'll know if he's stable or not because I should be able to press and he'd be still. Is what I call the high bridge, all right, or what's called the high bridge. I would recommend that you try and achieve this with your mobility training as much as possible. You should have the ability to do this. If you can't, then you have some work to do. But you should be able to get full hip extension all the way up. And if you notice, this leg is slightly rotated out and I'm locked, okay? Take a look at what position this is with the hips. What is this similar to that we've been doing in the weekend?
The windmill.
No.
Hip hinge.
Exactly. Swing.
Yeah.
Deadlift, right? It's the exact same thing, except in a different plane of movement, right? So most people, when they get into this, they're not pushing from the legs, they're kind of aimlessly picking the body up, right? It should be a strong drive, so good packed shoulder, good upright spine, deep breath in, good drive. And then from here, we'll dip down and pull the foot through, okay? So that's a little bit tricky, but all the way up. Should have the ability to balance. Toe goes in the ground, okay? And I actually stack my knee right underneath my hip, right? This is important because my body is kind of in three directions. I have stability here, and my body is pointing here, right? So there's my 90 degrees and my 45-degree angles, okay? So we'll work on it one more time. From the beginning, got my 45 degrees, up on the forearm, up on the hand. If this foot is too close to me, I'm not going to be able to hinge my hip. So I'll show you from this side. All right, so if it's very tight, to get my hips up, I have to compromise by losing stability in the ankle and in the knee. So move it slightly away from you. And if you noticed when I was demoing it, I kind of adjusted myself at each step. Move it slightly away. Make sure the shoulder is packed. Good. Okay, so one more time from the beginning. Got my starfish position, my 45s. Same arm, same leg. I'm locked here, pressing here. Back is in a neutral position, good integrity, good breathing. rotate. I've got my lunge position. 90 degrees, straight down. Rotate this leg back out to 45. Hips go up. Down on the forearm. Notice the elbow is right underneath the shoulder. And I roll back on the ground. We'll deal with how to pick up the weight and how to get the hand in a proper position in a second, but we should learn this body weight much like the windmill first. So the top two things that people do wrong with the get up, in my opinion, is they screw the setup up right from the beginning, right? So the insert from the clean, what you guys understood with that was it's the best position to get the hand to kind of relax, and the bell is resting in your posture of your arm. You're able to keep a straight wrist and so on, right? So we want to take that same position and apply it in the roll to press. So I'm going to get in fetal position right next to the bell. I'm going to insert my hand as if I just did the most perfect clean ever, right? So it's resting down the bone, my wrist is straight. My grip actually has no bearing here. I wouldn't encourage keeping an open hand. Still close around, that way you know you're safe, but it's different than actually grabbing in the middle and gripping it, because when I go to pick it up, I can break that stability by having a bent wrist. And I see a lot of people doing this, and right from the beginning, they're in a bad position. Okay, so I'm gonna insert my hand the same way from the clean and move the bell into my body and press it up. Okay, so that's the first error that people make wrong. The second one is that they do not bring the kettlebell inside their body center of mass. So real quickly, a kettlebell is different than a barbell or a dumbbell because it sits outside of your body center of mass, right? So when we were looking at the clean, you guys were cleaning in the midline, the zipper, right? We weren't cleaning out here where the bell would have been pulling us this way. So if we get that good position, we roll to press, but my arm is way out here. Now the kettlebell wants to pull me this way. And I see a lot of people doing that. So what we want to do is pull the bell so it's over our midline, right? My arm is in a neutral position, so palm is out to the side. I'm not palm forward, which is internally rotating the shoulder. And I'm pulling the bell over my body center of mass. That way I'm stable and I can control the weight better. And now when I go to roll up onto my forearm, the bell is right over the center line of my body.